Um, so everybody's got food, then we're good. It's always nice to present when people are eating. It's less questions I get asked. But I will make it awkward when I ask you something. If you just take a bite, it's like the waitress comes up to your table and you just take that bite, and she's like, "How's your food?" And you're like, you just have to give the thumbs up, right? But for those of you who don't know, my name's Jimmy Nelson. Um, I've been in real estate and mortgages for over a decade now. And one of the things that I really love to do, so at 52 years old, I feel like I'm pretty techie. Um, and I enjoy it. Like the last 6 months, I've really done this deep dive into AI, which is my wife's like, "What is your problem?" Like, I'm like, "No, I'm talking to AI. Like, leave me alone." But I've always been on that, try to be on the edge of technology because it's changing so quickly, right? Which then again, a few months back, I get to run into Justin, and we talked about his platform, which is Connection, at yourconnection.com. And one of the things that we talked about when we first hit it off was like technology and how quickly it's changing and what type of CRM you're using and all the things that go into these things. And again, as a team leader, as a real estate agent in this industry, things change very quickly. And things are rapidly advancing, no matter what business you're in, right? Whether it's real estate or just an entrepreneur or business owner, we know technology is moving quickly. So it's like a CRM. Like, what CRM do you use? And I get this question all the time. What CRM do you use? Or what's the best one? Typically, my answer is always whatever one you'll actually use. That's typically my answer. It's like, if you keep it on an Excel spreadsheet, if you write things down, if whatever you're going to use is the one that I always suggest. Now, ease of use and actual that you get out, your account for me is now the game a little bad. For I ran Novi HubSpot in the I've used Lofty, used Build Trail. So I've used a whole bunch of different ones. HubSpot was great, but HubSpot revamped a whole bunch of things. I've used a bunch, right? Again, so figuring these things out in my head against my suggestion is advice when guys hit their head a bunch of times. So make sure that there's not like against the wall. Take it. Say one of the things that Connection to me is streamline business, right? It's helped me streamline my business. So I have a team of agents that we have 8 agents on the team, and growing, and so there's that piece to it. The obvious piece is keeping things connected. So, but then as leads come in, how do we convert those leads? Like, what does that sound like? What does that feel like? What does that do? And again, working with different CRMs, working with different lead sources. I've used Ylopo. I've used all these things. So throughout my career, I've tried to figure out what's the best way to convert these leads and talk to people, because that's the hardest thing to do, right? Is break through these conversations. Because what happens on these calls? What do they say when you call them? Who are you? Right? Like, how'd you get my number? All the things start coming out. Like, how'd you get my number? Where'd you call me from? Well, ding dong, you just put it on the internet, right? Like, you just literally just entered it somewhere. That's where I got your number from. I don't call them a ding dong, and I don't tell them they just put their number on the internet, but that's one of the things that we'll talk about. So I've worked through a bunch of different scripts and different ideas and some things. And so as we get through this today, one of the biggest things that always comes up is, do we have a lead problem or do we have a conversion problem? Right? Because I've seen the agents will tell me, or business owners will tell me, I need more leads, I need more leads, I need more leads. And my first question back to them when I'm consulting them and trying to figure out what's going on with their business is, how many leads do you currently have? And what's your conversion? No, I don't know. We have to dig into to figure out, do you need leads, or are we just money on leads? Because that, we keep buying, again, there's a million lead sources out there that will get you leads. Will say on the planet, they're the best, they're the best, they're the best. How many times have you heard that? Every day. Every day. Now we have AI that's getting us better leads. But you still have to convert the lead. Right? Like, once the lead comes in, how do I have this conversation? So this is my first dive into the business of, do we have a lead problem or do we have a conversion problem? And what we find the most is that we actually have a conversion problem. Do any of you know what the conversion rate is? Like if you were, so I'm just going to use the big word for a minute, Zillow, right? Zillow is the biggest one out there, right? Any idea what the conversion rate on a Zillow lead is, or what Zillow would like it to be? No? 4%. 4%. 5, if it's good. When running the team, if we were at 6, Zillow was coming back to us going, how are you doing it at 6? Because they couldn't figure out how we were converting that high. 6%. So when we talk about conversion rates, and people start to think 10, maybe 20, no, we're talking like 5, 6%, right? If we're converting at 5, 6%. Now that's converting, but like the conversation piece, right? Not how many conversations are we actually having with these leads when they come in. Now, statistics tell us that it takes 19 touches to convert a lead on average.
Just so I understand that,
Yes.
that concept of conversion. What are we, conversion to appointment or conversion to actual money?
It's a great question. So a conversion to actual money is at 3%, right? 3 to 5%. That's when we're killing it, right? If you're converting that actual lead to a closing and actual money, it's 5%, right? If we're having a conversation, if we can get conversations, now again, if somebody actually get on the phone, right, or actually starts converting me either text messages, right, that I'm actually having conversations with, if that gets to about 25, 30%, it's a phenomenal lead source. Because it's from you then on to carry that through. Because a lead, again, when a lead comes in today, they may not be ready today, right? They went on the internet, they found something that they liked, they clicked on. Could be in the very, they could, but it's less than at that convert that lead. So it's a great question. So that 3 to 5% conversion is actual close. All right, that's the actual close. Conversation-wise, 25 to 30%. But again, it can take 19 touches to get that lead to actually start conversing with you, because we all do the same thing. Text message, we don't know the number. Or a phone call comes in, we don't know the number, and we're like, I don't know. I'm not going to answer that. I'll leave them a voicemail, and if I need something, I'll call them back, right? There's ways around that. We call it a double tap, right? I call the lead, they don't answer, or I know that it rang enough, I call it right back. Because now, in our human mind, we start to think, oh, shoot, it must be important. They called me right back. So now I answer. Shoot, I just got Jimmy on the phone. He wants to sell my house, right? But we double tap. So those conversion rates vary so much throughout whatever lead source you're getting these things through. So again, 3 to 5% to actual closed deals is phenomenal, right? That's a phenomenal average. But it always goes back to, it's all about the introduction, right? It's all about, how do I introduce myself and how does it come off? So we've all made that awkward phone call. The one thing that I will always caution you from is not saying, how are you today? Because if they're having a bad day, you're getting hung up on, they're telling you to F off, and they don't want to talk to you because they're having a bad day. And you just probably lit that lead on fire, right? So I always go into the fact like, hey, this is Jimmy Nelson calling from wherever I'm calling from. I got your number. Lucky for you, your number came across my desk today. I see that you're in the market to buy a home. The current home you're in right now, are you looking to buy, sell? Where are you looking to buy, sell? And I just start going some questions. What happens then is, who are you? Right? It goes right back to, who are you again? Because I've just hit them with a whole bunch of questions. But the good thing is they just ask me a question. Who are you again? And I say, I'm Jimmy Nelson. I'm calling because I see you're in the market to buy a home. What areas are you looking in right now? And see, I use that form of questioning because they can't say yes or no to me there. They have to answer me with a sentence there, right? If I say, what areas are you looking in? You can't just say no to me. You have to say, I'm not looking, or you have to formulate something there that they have to actually answer me with, right? If I go, are you looking for a home? No. Now how do I come back from that, right? So again, it always goes back into the questions you're asking, and putting those things together, and going into that introduction. So the introduction is always, hey, this is Jimmy Nelson calling from wherever you're calling from. I'm calling on behalf of my team. We see that you're looking for a home, or you're trying to sell a home in X county, whatever you want to, however we want to put this together. I'm going to pull the script up here in a second, but and then we're gonna wrap it out a little bit. So, but where you see they're trying to sell a home in whatever city. What has you looking to sell in this market right now? Have you looked at any pricing options, anything like that? I run through that right at the beginning.
Is the first 30 seconds of asking open-ended questions the most important part of the phone call, or is it closing and leading to the appointment? What would you say is more important?
The beginning, the intro, because you can lose it right away, right? You can lose them right away, right? Like, think about you getting that phone call. If you're asking me questions, because here's the other thing that's now plagued us and plagued our industries: AI. Now, do you guys know when you get an AI call? Have you figured it out yet? Like when you get one? So what I do is, you can trick it. I don't talk. And then it hangs up. So if you get one and it says, this is so-and-so, and you can tell that it's that robot voice, just like, don't say anything and see what it does. Usually it just hangs up because it's not getting any response, right? And I just figure I just mess with it a little bit. So that's where the intro comes in. If I go in and start asking questions and open-ended questions, they start answering me, start having a conversation, they might eventually get burnt out with me, right? But they also know that I'm not AI. They know that I'm actually a human being that's actually having a conversation with them. Because, and I see all these lead gen companies, they're going to just pump AI through everything, and it's dialing for everybody now, right? Which the government's really cracking down on right now. That's where all these rules and regulations are coming in, because everybody's getting bombarded with these AI things. And when it first started, it was even worse, and it didn't sound right, it didn't act right, it wasn't doing anything correctly. So the FCC had to come in and put some real stipulations down about actually human voices calling, and it can't just be all AI all the time, right? So so the thing I sent you guys to, and then I have it pulled up here. It's not, we're at technical difficulties, right? So I just go, because we know the name, right? If you're using Connection, it's coming in. I know the client's name. So if I say, hi, Steve, this is Jimmy giving you a call on behalf of, this is where you put your business in, right? Now, the example that I gave was a Realty Client Experience team. Now that sounds different to them. We're getting them off on it. We're kind of throwing a curveball to them. And I say, congratulations, your name came across my desk informing me that you are in the market to either buy or sell a home, right? And my job's to ensure you have a world-class buying experience. How I do that is by assuring my home buyers like you are in the hands of Real Estate Master. And then I go right into pivot, right into a dig deep in discovery. That's when I usually get the, who are you again, right? But they also know now that I'm a human, because now I can go, oh, this is Jimmy. I'm calling you on behalf of my real estate team. Your name happened to come across my desk today. Lucky for you that I got you, and I see that you're trying to buy a home in whatever city you're in. And then now I get, well, I'm not looking, or I don't know where you got my number, or some of that comes through. But I also get the, oh yeah, I was looking there. I don't know what I'm doing yet. I'm just kind of feeling the market out. Great. What has you looking right now in that area, right? Or if they're trying to sell, right, tell me about the area that you're currently living in, right? And if they're on the buy side, one of the things I always hit them back with on the buyer question is, if they're looking to buy in a specific area, is where do you live now? Because that's going to give me an idea on where their mindset is of where they're moving to or what they're doing, right? So if I can pull you in and say, all right, where do you currently live? And if, again, I know where their move up is, right? If they're going from East Point to Farmington Hills, that's a big move up, right? How is that happening? Like, what's going on with that? Then I can start getting into where their plans are and what they're doing. So it always goes back to asking open-ended questions that they have to answer with a sentence, right? Once they pivot, and I pivot and back, getting into the digging deep in the discovery, that's where you start to get the real meat and potatoes of everything, right? And that's where you start to get like, all right, this makes sense. It starts to make sense to them, and they realize what's going on too. So the other thing is when we review, so here's the other thing. We always want to grab control back of the call too, right? So again, when we pull control back, one of the things I always go back to is, hey, can you grab a pen and paper for me? Now I've grabbed control back of the call, right? Because I've let them go on for a few minutes about what their situation is, where they're living, why they're living there, where they're going to next, and all those things. But now I can go back into grabbing back control of that call and saying, okay, grab a pen and paper for me. And here's where we review. We're going to review on, you said you live in X city, you're looking to get to the B city by this time, you're looking for however many bedrooms, however many bathrooms. Is that true? Is that good? Or is there anything else that you have on your mind right now? And then now they have to think about what they just told me. But now I've got them control. And now they know I'm actively listening to them. Now they understand, like, I paid attention to what they were saying. I'm not AI. I'm not just some robo-dialer. I'm not just phone jockey just trying to set an appointment. I'm actually a human being that's a real estate agent that wants to help them either buy or sell a home, right? So that's what we're talking about, is trying to come into that mode of, is it still doing the same darn thing? Is there a squirrel in the thing or something? But yeah, so it's like, it's how can we do that? And look, this is what the great part about being a basketball coach is. That I can't move the board. But everybody's got the Wi-Fi, so that's cool. We can get rid of this. But here's what we're going to do in about 2 seconds, all right? In about 2 seconds, we're all going to get up, and we're going to partner up, and we're going to go through a strong intro. And I want you guys to then battle it out with each other a little bit, but I like to make it weird. So we're going to partner up, so we'll just go you two, all right? And then go through your strong introduction, see what happens at the end. You give an objection right there, find out what it is, and then switch. That make sense? All right. So the strong intro, if we go through, so the biggest thing is your name, right? And then where? Where are you from? And then you want to get right into that strong intro, that strong continuation of, all right, I'm calling on behalf of my team that is going to provide this, if we can get there. So let me go back. Go back to one screen. Very carefully. There, yeah. So that's your intro up there. So if you can see it, hi, whatever their name is, right? This is your name, giving you a call on behalf of the whatever Realty Client Experience team. Congratulations. And you can, when it drops to A, B, and C there, you can use any one of those. It looks like you're in the market to buy a home. Congratulations. Right? So any of those three there, you can plug in. But then you roll right into the next thing. My job is to ensure that you have a world-class home buying experience. How I do that is by making sure home buyers like you are in the hands of a real estate expert that is a master of their craft. And again, you can tweak this for yourself. This is a good example. But again, sometimes like, even like AI, right? If you're using it to write these, it says stuff that I wouldn't say either. So this is not what I would say, right? But I can provide you a competitive advantage in a market that has more people wanting to buy homes than there are homes available. Now, tell me about the areas you're most interested in buying. What draws you to those neighborhoods, and are there any specific school districts, commute times that matter to you? Okay? So, all right, so we can get up and partner up. It's better to stand and get together. But we're going to run through this I want one of these questions, one of the dig deep questions, all right? And then we're going to reverse it. Yeah, go here. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I guess we're pretending this is a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hi, Michael. I'm Lori Rouse calling from
You're good right now.
Yeah.
So run through that one more time. Just go to this. This.
Can't read that.
No, that's not. But what you did was fine.
Oh,
Yeah, what you did was fine.
oh,
Right? Because you just went through it. You didn't. There was not like, how are you today? You went right. It was perfect. You went right through it. Yeah, you went right through it. So that's the only one we're working on now. Then we're going to add in the other stuff later. So now, yep. Now switch. Yep. Perfect. You're good. So just keep working that intro again. So that was good. But work on that. Right now, and then we're gonna just get to that first one, and then we're gonna add it. We're gonna add this together.
I'm listening. See, now that's where I would get stumped personally is the question. You got it. Ready to go. Yeah. Reading here. Okay. So then that would I would have to name some kind of lead generation source, and then hopefully pivot to hearing the areas where you're interested in buying, but it doesn't. Yeah.
yeah, I'm really kind of flexible right now, but there really isn't any inventory. So we're struggling to find a home that's meeting our needs, and we're really kind of fed up and getting ready to give up.
I almost want to say that's where I come in. but
Yeah.
I feel like that's expected.
Right?
That's expected.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I guess I should learn how to take that and then internalize it and then make that pain point something that I can help out with.
Yep. That's what we're gonna work on next.
Okay. But closing that and breaking that is something. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah. How much you think you could sell it for?
No, go ahead. I'm
I'll
good.
make you one.
Oh no, I'll get it when I'm done.
sure?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'll get it when I'm done.
I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do.
looks like we might get a few. Yeah. All right, we can wrap it up and get back to our seats.
Sure. If you get all the conflict. That's what I was trying to do, but was unable to find professional sentences to get to. Okay.
Yep.
I have no idea. I'm gonna remember that. You have a team of experts. What was it? Something representation used.
A lot of money.
All right, let's get back to the seat. We're going to go into the next part of this. All right, so we got to the introduction. You guys did a pretty good job of just getting through it, right? Like, again, that's where it's like just running through that introduction. And again, it's kind of weird when not saying, how are you today? Or like, it's kind of, it's because that's what we just, like, naturally we're human beings. Like, I want to know, like, are you having a good day today, right? Like, but if, again, it backfires most of the time because if you're having a crappy day, like, or I just don't have time for this right now, right? How I learned a lot of this objection handling and a lot of getting through strong introductions, I learned I would call my mom, like on the way to the office in the morning sometimes, and just like, Mom, I'm running through this, like, and just give me objections, right? And then my wife, because what I look at this is a busy mom. Like, how do I get a busy mom on the phone? You don't want to be on the phone. Like, that's the last place you want to. I got laundry, I got this, I got kids to take to practice, you know what I mean? Like, that's the last place. So if I could get through that, I was going to master this thing. So that's how I did it. But so, all right, so when we review and pivot, right? So if I review and say, all right, so what I hear you telling me is that you are looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. You want to make as much possible money as you can off the current listing that you have. Does that sound about right? Is there anything that I missed? Okay? So now when I say that part, that's where I go into my branding now, right? So what you learn about me is that I believe in process, consistent communication, game planning, and holding the hands of all my clients, regardless if they're first-time home buyers or not. I just so happen to be an expert in Clarkston, where you happen to look right now, right? So you give that brand like, oh man, this person actually really knows what they're doing. They really know what they're saying, right? And then I pivot a game there. Pivot, game plan. Here's where we go from here and what our next steps are. Grab a pen and paper for me, right? Now I'm going to actually, I'm gaining back control of this call. You gave me all the things you wanted. I gave you my branding, what my value prop is, right? So I put brand there, but you can also get, whatever your value is, like what value are you providing? Laura, you did one, I grew up in Clarkston. I lived in Clarkston my whole life. Like, it's a big value add. That's a big brand. That's a prop, right? That's good. So that's what we're learning about you there. Here's where we go from here, what your next steps are. Grab a pen and paper for me if you can. So now that we do that, now we've grabbed control again, and we've gained and said, all right, we're going to make you do this. They did it. Now, people have said to me, well, what if they don't grab a pen and paper? I'm like, well, I don't know if they did or not, right? We're on a phone call. I don't know if they did it or not. So, no, you're good. So, I don't know if they did it or not. I should have made this bigger. On the buy side, right, if they're a buyer, then I go right into, we finalize your financing. Have you already gotten pre-approved, or would you like me to connect you with a trusted lender? Now I'm going to start to find out, like, have they even thought about a buying process yet? Have they thought about this? On the sell side, like, we finalize your prep list. Is there anything you want to know, fix, clean, or touch up before going live? I can help you prioritize that if you need me to, right? Because now we're going to start to dig in for the appointment, right? Because especially if they're trying to list, then I want to make sure that I can get in front of them, okay? The three things I never discuss on the phone with the potential list is price, length of contract, and commission. I never want to do that over the phone. I want to handle all that face to face. So price, length of contract, and commission, because that's how many times that's the first thing they ask. What's your commission? Well, don't worry about that. We'll talk about that when we get there. We'll get to that point. It's more important for me to show you what our systems are and how I'm going to get your home marketed to the most people, right? And they may come back and go, well, yeah, but don't worry about that part. Let me show you exactly what I do first. Then you'll see the value, and if you see the value, and it's not going to matter, right? So, and then if that's on the buy side, like the last one there, I set you up with a custom MLS search. Are mornings or evenings better for you to look at new listings as they come in, right? So now I can start to find out again. Do they work at 9 to 5? What's their work schedule like? Do they got to bring the kids with them? Like, I work with a lot of first-time home buyers. Again, I coached high school basketball for 20 years. So a lot of the kids that I coach now are getting to that age of like 30s where they're starting to get married and buy houses. So they'll call me like, Coach, can you help me find a house? It's great until they start bringing their parents with them. I'm like, man, can you just leave your dad at home? He doesn't know anything about furnaces, really, right? I promise you, he does not. I've known your dad for a long time. He knows nothing about furnaces. If he did, your mom wouldn't be mad that his furnace is still broken at home, right? So, but yeah, so those times that I want to set up those things when those are, all right? So now let's get back together again and run through your whole introduction, pivot. Can you go back one on that, Justin, if you don't mind? All right, so you guys got the introduction down, okay? Then run right through the review and pivot. So what I hear you telling me, because we're going to ask a few questions there, right? What are they looking for? When do they want to move? And pick one side. Pick buy or sell and run with it. Doesn't matter which one it is. If you're more comfortable with buyers or whatever, it doesn't matter. But run with it. And then so what I hear you telling me is that go over what their wants are, all right? And then brand yourself, right? And then go into the game plan and then start asking some more questions, okay? All right, see, I waited until you guys were done. Now we can move again. I waited until you were done eating before I got us up and moving.
I think the repeating is so vital. Like
Yeah.
Chris Voss talks about, like repeat back to them. So you're kind of like doing two things. You're calming it down the mood, but you're subconsciously acknowledging what they're saying.
Yep. And
So I hear you right.
they think
Right.
you're like totally just dialed in with them right now. Like
And it's
you are.
not even about that.
And it's like, no, it's not even about you.
No,
It's like,
it's about me staying in control. Like,
Yeah.
What do you want? What's some hot or cold to drink?
yeah.
I gotta get you something. And it's like, hey, write this down.
I just saw a body language expert. So Trump just met with Putin, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And Trump put a master class of body language on.
Oh, huge.
So when he stood, he waited for Putin to get off the plane.
Yep.
You come to me.
Right. I'm not walking to you.
Yeah.
You're gonna walk to me.
I'm like, yep.
You
and
wait
then
for him to
and
reach
then
his
pulled
hand
him close.
Oh yeah, pull him.
Yeah.
He does this. So
Yeah.
you're
Oh, yeah,
watching,
he does this.
He'll
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
He'll turn his.
Yeah.
So he's like,
Yeah.
it's both that.
But he
Yep.
Regardless of that, I'm a
just waited. I'm like,
And that's how so it's like to your the psychological is you're bringing people in, but you're keeping like control.
mm-hmm.
And that's like how one of the ways I think is like how Voss puts it. Like, would it be a terrible idea instead of saying like, what do you think about that?
Yeah.
It's like, would it be a terrible idea?
Yeah, you're open-minded, right?
I love it. So that's
That's fun.
you get them every
So,
time.
so Michael's mom is an emotional,
Lori's really good too.
yeah, is an emotional intelligence counselor.
Oh really?
Like when the Army has generals and they do an emotional intelligence, his mom goes in and
Oh wow.
does the emotional intelligence with
That's
them.
huge.
Yeah.
It's a big
So,
deal.
yeah. She's like, no, it's not a big deal. I'm like, what's a big deal?
No, it's a
She's
big
like, no, it's not at all.
Well, it kind of is.
She's like, yeah. So I'm getting her on. She's gonna be on the show in a couple
good.
weeks. Yeah, she's gonna be on the show in a couple weeks. And she's like, is it really that interesting? I'm like, yeah, it's that
I
interesting.
feel bad about that.
Ah, we'll figure it out.
I told the guy about the thing because he got something coming at 2. I was like, you might want to.
Yeah.
I don't know how important it is to them.
Right.
And I think I said if I have accident in some rain, scared some people away.
Right.
The 20 that were registered or whatever.
So I'd like to send you 3 different lenders, and what I would encourage you to do is reach out, and at the end of the day, this is a relationship business. I would encourage you to have a conversation, see who you're comfortable with, and get through that pre-approval process so that we can make you the ready buyer you need to be to get you to the finish line. How does that sound for you?
Sounds great.
Great.
That was way better than what I expected. There's a lot less stutter.
Well, so that's gonna be number 1 for me.
Oh my gosh. You ever been to the Hermina Fair? Have you been to the flea market that goes every week? You'll be right by there to get everything by that. That's a great area, great school. Bearcats, I believe they're called.
Okay.
Yeah. Throwing that out there. No idea. I went out there. No idea. I said I think they're called the Bearcats. I had no idea. Why, so you're looking for acres that you can't, you can't, you won't be able to see your neighbors, hear your neighbors, do anything else. Perfect place for it. You like soybeans and cornfields in the fall?
I do.
There you go.
I do. I like.
So how do we get there from here? Thursday, 4 o'clock, we can start discussing this? I'll see you then.
I always give 2. Wednesday at 5 or Thursday at 3 work better.
Then then I was reserved, so I can't do that. Well, you pick a time.
Yeah.
Now she owns it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my commission's 10%, but thank you, I'll see you then.
Only, I reduced it just
I think you're a value.
I'm a humanitarian.
I think you're a value.
Right.
And a 5,000 console fee.
Well, what's powerful with it too is just like anything in sales, it's all sales, it's all talk, but it's like high anchor. If I want you to go with my number, I'm gonna say, typically, people start off with 7, 8, 9%. I don't do that. I start with about 5.5, 6, depending upon. And all of a sudden, it just sets the tone to where they're like, oh my God, 9, so 5 is way better. Instead of this, well, someone said they would do it for 1. I'm like, would you trust someone? That
Yeah.
would fix your furnace for $5?
I heard Keller Williams is 15% no matter what.
No matter. You know what I heard?
Who's with them, by the way?
Yeah, right.
You gotta watch out for those discount brokers because they don't just discount your brokers; they discount the sale.
Well, that's one of the things, the big things is with like people start discounting. I'm like, how good of an agent do you think I am if I were to discount this house before I even put it on the market for you? Like when you're not around and I'm negotiating on your behalf, do you want me just to?
Yeah, you're not paying me. I heard it put this way too, which is so powerful. You're not paying me to list your home. You're paying me like you would a financial advisor for the most trusted resource. Like if we went into court right now, do you want the attorney charging $50 an hour or $500?
Right.
You want the 500 because he's not going to take much time. He knows everybody. He's going to get the process done. So
Yeah.
the same thing is with that. Anyone can put a sign in your yard. You can put your own sign in your yard.
Yeah.
Zillow will let you list it. But what you're not thinking of is the 17 things that I'm going to protect you from, provide to you, and guide you through every step of the way to where we can get
contract to close, where it's their idea to give you the number you want, and that's the master of selling.
Yeah.
It's like programming it to say like, hey, how can we execute this to where you have the upper hand, and they think they do.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the questions in my listing presentation that I do too. Is that one of the things that I always say is, I'll ask them, what do you think my job is?
Right.
And they'll always say, well, it's to sell my home. And I'm like, actually, it's not. My job is to market your home to the most amount of people possible and bring in as many eyeballs as I possibly can on your home. That's what my job is. And then I've had people go,
Any props to your listing presentation or just the contract?
I usually do. I usually bring my listing presentation.
Pen.
I just put this out.
My very first one they brought in, I was like, he brought his laptop, they brought a screen for them to look at, and so they were kept going between
Yeah.
him and the screen. It was the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
I was like, and there was no intimacy about it. There was nothing
No.
there. It was
Well,
like,
I bring a printed out like listing presentation, right? Like a hard copy, and I usually I'll go through it and then I'll leave it with them because then what I have in there too is like the seller's roadmap of like what's this process going to be like. Like I'm going to go over it with you, but I'm leaving this with you too, just so you have this as our roadmap of what's going to happen next.
Well,
Yeah.
there's a book called Same Side Selling, and psychologically, so if me and you were talking like this, but if I came over and said, hey, do you have a second? I just did this, now we're talking
Yeah.
like this, now how do you feel?
I feel invaded.
Right. But for most people, they feel comfortable because
Yeah.
someone that they trust is sitting next to them. Now we're attacking a problem, versus if I'm over here, sitting down, it's like, now
Yeah.
it's almost like, well, think about it, in a lot of scenarios, when you're across the table from someone, usually it's a conversation,
Right.
argument, right? Where you're sitting next to someone, it's like, man, we're like kind of trying to solve this problem together, or whatever the case is. So Same Side Selling is a good book for that.
Or it's like an interview, right? Then you're feeling like
Right. The close.
that's it.
This is where the magic happens, is in the close.
Then you can have that discussion and say, this is what we're gonna do to win this deal. So,
I love this.
Kicking my butt, yeah.
I love it.
but it's
Well,
all
that's the
timing.
mentality of
If
all
you're
people
buyer
that
day
get on
one,
with
you
someone, 'cause
really
you
don't
are
wanna hear
providing
all
value
that.
service.
Yeah.
So I
You've
think
lost
we
4
have to
deals in a
remove
bidding war,
the
now you're
obviously
listening
be
to me.
transparent.
Now you want to get
feeling of
creative, and
sales.
these are the things you're
We're
willing
gonna
to
say,
do.
there's
That's
a feeling of sales.
that's
You're gonna be like, no, I'm doing you a service, so
two
here's
different
the
organizations.
Yeah.
Otherwise, sometimes they think
I'll
you're,
make that happen for you. Because you really
why
want
would
to.
I do that? Well,
You know what I mean?
in your head, you know why,
Yeah,
but
you're trying to help
sometimes you
them.
don't.
Yes.
Yeah.
But some of the branding for you is really to talk about that. The knowledge I just gave you, and you're dealing with a buyer who hasn't bought a house in 20 years, they have no idea what they don't know.
The way you explained it though felt very helpful and didn't feel very pushy. And you explained this is why I want you to do this because I don't want you to blank. Okay.
I wasn't going for the
That's
commission.
I'm gonna remember that.
Aren't you
All right.
teaching this class?
I know. Here's the pen. Yeah, here's the pen. All right. So now we're gonna get to the close. All right. Now we're gonna get to the close. And you guys, you're right. You're spot on with everything, right? Like, so then it has to come back to some sort of like value, right? It's like purses, right? You can buy the Coach purse, or you can buy the purse from Walmart. They both do the same exact thing, right? They really do the same exact job. There's no difference between the purses, except there's one that has Coach on it, and there's one that has whatever, like Smoach or something, like whatever the knockoff brand is, right? Yeah, Couch, yeah. So it's like there's those things, but there's really people see the value in the bag, right? So it's kind of like what you're saying, right? It's what's the value that I bring, right? Outside of I can send you MLS listings, or I can put a sign in your yard. Great. So does every other agent, right? But what separates me then, right? Like what's the differentiator? Because that's where we start to see the difference, right? And again, newer agents will ask me all the time too, like, well, I haven't had any sales, or I'm perfect. If somebody asks you, well, how long have you been in the business? Seems like forever. That's it, right? That's it. You don't have to give them an answer. And then number-wise, if they say how many closings or how many sellers, whatever your brokerage has or whatever your team's been doing, you use those. right? So you have a brand and you have a thing, and what you have to remember is you're still the licensed professional. Like Lori said, that person that hasn't sold a house since 1994, like this is a completely different game now. It's not the same game. It's not the same game as it was 2 years ago. You know what I mean? It is not the same game that it was 2 years ago. So once we get through all that, right, the close. So after hearing the game plan, does anything feel unclear or stressful? Right? So now we're going to get down to the business. Like if they're, because I want to know if they're unclear. Does everything make sense? Does everything I say to you make sense? A lot of times they just go, yeah. They really don't know. They're really confused. They won't say this. But that's why I try to like use a little bit different. Does anything feel unclear or stressful? Because nobody says they don't want to know. They don't know, right? Nobody wants to admit like I have no idea what you just said to me, right? Nobody wants to admit that part that they really weren't paying attention to you that closely, or that they just don't understand the process, right? So nobody really wants to admit that part. So does anything feel unclear or stressful? And I want to make sure we tackle those up front. That's the close. Yeah, that's the close. Like that's it. It's as simple as that. Does anything feel unclear or stressful? I want to make sure we tackle all that up front. Now, sometimes they might give you something back and say, you know, this kind of feels this or that. Or they'll go back to if it's a listing side, they may go back to, well, what's your commission, right? Don't worry about that. We'll get to that when I get there. We're going to talk about all that when we're face to face, right? And we talked a little bit about setting an appointment over here. Setting the appointment, I like to give 2 dates, right? Does Wednesday at 3 or Thursday at 5 work better for you, right? Now, I've heard it also asked, like, hey, are you a 9 to 5 type person, or does during the day work, right? So now I find out, well, I work from home, so come over anytime you want.
From what I understand, a lot of these open and closed-ended questions make the buying and selling process easier. Is there a limit to how many questions you can ask before, like, your lead tends to get tired and just, oh, I don't want to do this? Because I feel like there might be a limit to maybe too many questions. Or my issue is I tend to be a little pushy when I'm in a sale.
Yeah.
So I want to learn how to back off, ask just the right amount of questions to where they don't get
Yeah.
discouraged or something.
Well, you said it too. So you should be up here doing this whole thing and not me.
I didn't say
But,
that.
no, because what you gave on that part was it's going to be a feel, right? You're going to start to feel it. Like if they start getting short with you, it's probably time to start. Yeah, it's time to start backing off a little bit, right? If they're giving you one-word answers, it's like, well, I'll probably ask too many questions here, right? You may get the person that you ask one question and they just go, just give you the whole thing, right? I'm typically that person, right? I'm typically the person like, how are you today? And I just go into this whole diatribe of like how I am today, right? Like I give too much information, right? Like sometimes that's what I do. Obviously, I like to talk, but that's just part of what I do. So so you'll get a feel for that, and there are going to be people that get sick of you asking questions. Tough, right? Like that's the only way I get through this, right? You may burn a lead, right? Whatever, but you're going to get through it, and then you're going to just learn. But yeah, so you'll start to know. You'll start to figure it out once they start to get short. That's typically when like you can get to this part. Like after hearing this game plan, does it make sense, right? Is there anything you don't understand, or is there anything you need more information on, right? To get them to stay with what's going on, right? So through all this, how are you guys feeling about that intro and that flow? We're still on the phone. We're closing for the appointment here, right? So that's what I said. So like after hearing all the game plan, everything we just went through, all the questions that you answered for me, do you feel like you got everything down, or is it feeling stressful, or is there anything you need to know more information about? And if they're like, no, I'm good, great. I've got Wednesday at 3 or Thursday at 5. I'd like to come meet with you.
And so do you ever pre-qualify them to make sure that you're going to be going there to do this is what I'm here for?
Yeah, so again, then that depends on the conversation at this point, right? Am I closing for an appointment, or am I closing for a follow-up call, right?
Closing to get a contract signed.
Right.
I just don't want to have a bunch of appointments because they don't lead to money. That's not a conversion. That is a wrong conversion rate.
Right.
Because I don't want to be the king of appointment setting.
Well, but are you getting everything signed at the appointment?
I hope so. That's the whole point.
Right. Right. So.
I don't want to come back a third and fourth.
Right. So again, at this point now, but now I'm going to know, right? I'm going to know. It's going to depend on the conversation. If my buyer, if they're like, yeah, I already have a pre-approval letter, I don't need to talk to anybody else, I'm good. I mean, let's start shopping for houses, right? Let's go. If they don't have any idea about a pre-approval, or if they don't know who they should call, or if I gotta hold their hand to get them to a pre-approval, right? If I gotta get them to move on and do something, right? Now that's probably not an appointment. It's probably for sure. Yeah. Well, we should be getting them under buyer contract, right? Yeah. 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 But yeah, I would say listing side, we're definitely closing for an appointment, right? Because we're going to get everything signed. I'm going to go out to get everything signed. I want to have the listing appointment. I want to go through my listing presentation. I want to explain the process to them, right? If it's a buyer and they're in a hurry and I find out, all right, they want to move quick, great. I'll meet them at a house, right? I'll get the buyer's contract signed at the house. We'll do everything right there, and we'll go through a buyer's representation right there. So I want to get, because I want to get them. Or if I can, the really secret sauce is if I can meet a buyer at their current house, like where they're living now, if it's a buy-sell type deal, I want to see what they're in, right? Because now I'm going to have some sort of idea of like, all right, they like this, obviously, or they don't like this, or they hate this place, or they like this specific thing about this house. I need to try to find something like that while I'm looking for them, right? Or the opposite. They hate this place. They hate everything about it. I need to look for the complete opposite of what they have now. Yeah. So, and then the other thing that I typically use for couples, if I'm meeting with couples, and in that sheet you guys all got emailed to you, there's a buyer's consultation in there. It's a form that I'll print out and take with me if I'm meeting with a buyer's consultation. If it's a couple, what I'll do is I'll take the sheet and I'll set it in between them. And whoever grabs it, that's who I got to sell. Because I know who's grabbing it. My wife's grabbing it. You got to talk to her. Like, I'm just showing up, right? Like, I know what's going to happen. She's going to grab it, and she's going to start reading it and filling it out. That's just typically, and that's about 90% of the time what happens, is if I slide that through between them, it's usually the wife that grabs it. If it's the husband, I'm like, oh, that's weird. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's different. That doesn't happen very often. But I know, because then, again, same thing when I go into a house, when we go on to showings, right, is that when they start to go into showings, a lot of times they'll split, right? The husband will go to the furnace and the garage. The wife will go to the kitchen and the bedrooms and start to see wherever the layout. The husband thinks they fix stuff. They don't. And they go to the furnace and they go to the hot water tank and they're like, well, this is an old furnace. I'm like, you're going to hire somebody to fix it anyway. Like, let's just be honest with ourselves here, right? So again, speaking from experience, I'm not making fun of anyone. I'm speaking from experience. I do the same thing. I'd walk in and like, look at the roof. Like, man, that roof, I don't know. I'm not fixing the roof, right? I'm going to call somebody to fix that. I'm not doing it. So those are just little like tips and tricks along the route, like to do things. And there's always like that subtle the body language, right? The body language is always a thing. When people are leaning in, you're in a good spot, right? If they're leaned in and they're writing stuff down, like just keep rolling with whatever you're doing. If they put the pen down and lean back, that's when you're like, something happened. Something just happened right there. Like something just happened. And now I have to start figuring out what it is. Justin and I were talking up here a minute ago, and it's always a good thing to, again, repeat what they said to us, because that's active listening, right? The other thing that does is it helps slow you down. So I can start to think about, okay, they did say a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. Like, was that a need or was that a want? Like, but I'm repeating it back to them, and then I can watch their facial expressions and figure out, like, is this landing? Is this receptive? Is this what's happening? Or did I totally miss the mark on this, right? And so on the buy side as well, too, I always tell everybody, like, if I'm sending you listings, and I never do just like the auto send of listings out of the MLS. I always do the concierge mode. That's a whole nother training, but because I just don't want them blasted with, I just don't want them blasted with a whole bunch of listings that they have to go through, right? I'm working with a buyer right now, though. Might be the easiest buyer I've ever worked with in my life. He's like, look, I don't even want you bothering to look. I'll look and send them to you. I said, oh, all right. I go, you don't want anything from me? He's like, nope. And in fact, I'm going to write an offer for him when we're done today at a house he went and looked at and found on his own. And he just called me and said, can you write the offer? I'm like, sure. Yeah. Might be the best buyer ever. He came in with a pre-approval letter. He was like, I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, can you talk to other people about this process, right? But yeah, he did all the research on his own, did all the things. He's like, yeah, I know what I'm doing on that. I'm like, oh, all right. So I'm here just to unlock the door. I really am just to unlock the door and let him in. And I didn't even do that the last time. He just wants to write an offer. He went with his mom and dad and looked at it. All right. Yeah. So the close, yeah, Justin, we go one more. The close is like after hearing the game plan, right? All that stuff. So what I'm going to have us do is one last time, because we got about 3 minutes. One last time, get up and run through the entire thing again. Ask a couple questions, get all the way through the close. Fair? All right, let's go. You want that back up?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Yeah, if you go right back to the beginning.
I'd like you to run your spiel again, but this time I know what I'm listening for.
Your spiel. I love
I think you need more practice there.
And I could use some feedback.
Yes.
So through the whole process.
So go for it.
Okay. So we start with the introduction. I'm looking to assess where you're looking to buy or sell. Am I talking to a buyer or a seller here?
Well, you pick.
Whatever you want.
But whatever it is, then just stick with it.
Yeah.
She's a buyer, let's pretend.
I'll be a buyer.
Okay.
Still.
Okay. So I'm calling you. I'll say, hi, my name is Michael Major at eXp Realty. I saw your name come across my desk this morning, and I understand you're in the market for looking to buy a house. It's my sales service director working in the Farmington Hills area. Is that correct? Okay. And how has that process been for you so far? Has that been challenging?
Yeah. That's when it's the best. And everybody starts moving. Then we switch partners. You can't use the same one. Like, you know, you start moving. But it's funny, like, you start to do this, and then you see by the end, like, and it's like, shut up and sit down. Like, it's really weird at first. They're like, hey, my name's, you know, they don't. But then, yeah, but that's why you make people move, too, because
Right.
they usually sit next to their friend.
All the time.
So, but that's why I'm like, no, you got to, yeah,
It's good.
yeah.
Yeah. I think I talked with Tara too. She was unable to make it, but
Yeah.
talked with her. We could do another.
Yeah, her real estate, her social media girl is supposed to be here.
Yeah, that too. Is what it is sometimes, man. Like story of my life. Between door down, 75.
Yeah.
It's the first. Hey, it's good though.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, do two or three of these. That's when we see momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
We
see.
have a large network of people.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I mean, you could do quarterly,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for a year.
Well, and right
And-
now is a tough season too. Summer.
Yeah.
Summer. You know, I'm telling Tara that we had 12 people here just because I want to prove her Tuesdays do work.
Well, it's always the
poker
first
opens.
one's always different too, right?
Oh my God!
You know what I mean? The first one's always,
I think it's pretty good considering it's the first one with no money.
yeah,
Like we
Yeah.
didn't give Facebook $1,000.
yeah,
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
yeah.
Between my videos, your videos, and
Well,
organic.
and it's funny. So Latita,
Okay.
she's joining my team.
Nice.
Michael's joining the team. So are those two here.
Yeah.
And I thought Christy and Raquel were supposed to be here too, but they're not.
Yeah.
here.
Now, the ones that we had at the golf outing.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
nice. Sisters, right?
yeah,
Kelly?
yeah,
Delia?
yeah. Deli.
So my first question is, have you been
And as soon as he gets licensed,
Right.
he's going to have a connection. He's going to start dialing.
Oh yeah. Well, the other thing too is so I think with this new keyword sets, we're gonna see, like I said, lower quantity, but
higher quality.
And
Yeah.
that's really what we want is that fine. I think we want to blend still. Like we still want some quantity to
Yeah.
come in because
Well, the good thing is
because
too,
they're
like,
not bad.
he's
It's
going to
just
have
they're-
an opportunity to, like, I'm her too. I'll put them both in there. You guys just sit and just dial through all of them.
Right. Well, that's what we have now is you know, our client connection specialist. That's what they're doing, and it's just like they're relentless.
Yeah.
You can't. It's like talking on them. You can't stir them up.
Yeah.
Okay. No worries. Yeah, sounds good. Well, you know, and so we're actually kind of teaching that Chris Voss, like repeat, mirror, and
Yeah.
then like, would it be a terrible idea if we just set an appointment?
So you're
all
you're a
recorded.
Chris Voss fan.
Huge.
Well, you know I know him, right?
Yeah.
Like, so so the next, he's supposed to be, trying to put something together to get him back in town.
Oh, good.
Kurt and I are.
Yeah, yeah.
Kurt's
Him and
actually,
Kurt wrote a book together. You know
that-
Kurt's an author?
yeah, well, that, and then they bought a whiskey company together.
I know, he
They
told
bought
me
a
that
bourbon
too. I
company.
remember the first
Yeah.
time I
Oh,
was
yeah,
in a
that's right.
sales meeting,
Yeah.
and Kurt's talking for 55 minutes, and I'm like, well, okay. That's what
Yeah.
it is. You know what I mean? I'm like, I think he was testing me.
Yeah.
Like, am I going to interrupt you?
Yeah, no,
And
that's
I'm
how
like-
he, that's,
And
that's.
I'm like, not going to happen.
Yeah, that's Kurt.
You're
Yeah.
not going to break me.
Yeah.
It's not going to, I've
Yeah.
been doing this too long.
But yeah, but that was, remember we talked about doing the one event
Yeah.
that we were working on, and that was, we were trying to do something, and then, but we're trying to figure out something with Chris to get Chris back in.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other one is who is friends with Kurt too that I know now, Chris Swanson,
Oh, yeah.
the
Okay.
sheriff that's running for governor.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That guy,
So
yeah.
he wants us to do something,
Okay.
put on, for his governor thing, he's gonna come in and do his, and then
Okay.
we can have Boss and him and
Yeah,
like
I
his
always
whole.
get kind of like, I'm like, it's like, because it's back and forth. I'm like, I don't want to be picking sides, man. Like, I'm like Switzerland.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like, that's what I
it's
tell him.
funny
I'm like, Duggan, because I'm tight with the campaign manager
Yeah.
for Duggan.
Okay.
And I'm like,
Well,
yeah. I'm
because
like, bro, like,
Swanson's running as a Democrat,
oh, I know.
and he's like, but
John
he's
James.
the most Republican guy you've ever known.
But he knows he can try to win.
That's what he said.
Right.
And he's not trying just to win the governor.
No.
He's going for.
Yeah. And we'll see. I mean, but, you know.
That's just he wants to be president. He's already
your
told.
thing?
Yeah, he's already told us. He's like,
Really?
no. He's like, guys, this is not. This is just.
Stepping stone.
Yeah, this is just the next thing.
Well, first get to it because you're going up against a guy with an impressive resume. Duggan.
Yeah.
He's got an impressive resume.
And Detroit loves him.
Well, and
But he's running as an independent.
well, because I know the campaign manager. They did a lot. They were like, because where are you running right now?
Right.
Everyone's ticked off at everybody, and so it's like the best lane.
Yeah.
And then as a governor, they feel like they're in a lane where you have a stronger hold at that level working with administrations. Because now you're not
Yeah.
handcuffed. Because what he's going to realize, and this is tough, just like James realized, yeah, get in there, and then they're going to tell you how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep a close eye on that. And Duggan said to him from the vision, he goes, listen, I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
You think you're going to do good until you get in there.
Yeah.
And they tell you, no, you're doing this, or we're going to do, it's like, whoa.
Yeah. Oh,
He goes, it's real.
I've got two other people that I got to put you in contact.
Oh, nice.
Did I put you in contact with Keith Simon yet?
Yes, he booked a call for Monday.
Okay, good.
Great guy.
And then,
He's the one that did the showdown.
yes.
Doing the October.
Yeah,
Fest.
October best.
I like it.
Brennan Sanger, who I had
Oh,
on the
yeah,
show.
yeah, that guy.
He's like, tell me more about the connection.
Oh, okay. I thought he had a system, so I was like, all right.
Yeah. Well, no, he's got one, but he's like,
I reached out to Mike too. He told me to talk to his Angela or Adrian or some senior VP of marketing. So I
Okay.
messaged him and her. I asked him. I said, "Can I just include you on the email?" And he said, "Yeah." I was like, "Just so you know, because like people get a lot of emails
Yeah.
and they don't know." But great guy too.
yeah.
So we'll see what we can do. But yeah, I like it. I like everything. It's good. Good strategies. But yeah, that'd be great with events. And I hear he's a good guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He is.
So
Smart, man. He's going to do good. He's going to do big stuff because
Yeah.
he's a dialer
is he?
too. Yeah. So but I'm like, what are you? He's like, he's trying to, he's been using Bold Trail.
Brandon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's been using Bold Trail.
Yeah.
He's like, it's the cheapest one, like most efficient one.
Don't
Like,
go with that.
yeah.
You got to go with something that's going to get you there.
It was after this consultation, after identifying all these different points, then I say, yeah, I'm ready to meet with you at 4:30. I just met with the lenders that you recommended me. Now I have my list of things that I wanted. Yeah, I want a 2-car garage with a basement for my stepson.
Yeah. And since we have their name and phone numbers, we can just send them the Con Ed stuff.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, we'll do that. And I think, too, some of your emails, we got to warm up your inbox. 'Cause some of it was going to spam, which is
Okay.
just, it's going to happen.
For sure.
You know what I mean? But I want to try to, like, just send out more messages so that we can curb that. I don't think anyone's marked you as spam, but Google and Outlook, as of August of last year, took this, like, hard, like, hypo stance. Google wants to be under 0.3% spam rate. I'm like, dude, not 1%?
Yeah.
A third of a percent?
Right.
So you're going to dictate where things go? That's what it really is.
Yeah.
I'm like, how can
Well,
you
it
do
just
that?
happened.
Well, you didn't send 10,000 emails, so you're new. Like, that doesn't,
Yeah.
how are they going to get to 10?
Yeah. My wife and I were just talking about doing a HELOC.
Yeah.
And the girl sent the thing to my wife, and it went, couldn't, spam.
Yeah, and these are I mean, these are
This is
reputable
yeah,
companies.
yeah.
Rocket or who, I mean, I'm
Yeah,
saying like,
yeah, the CFCU.
but it's happening to
Yeah.
everybody. It's not even,
Yeah,
because everyone blames the new, like, oh,
no,
it's happening to everyone.
yeah.
That would be very helpful. So now
He wants my number now.
you told me to network, man. You told me to start
Wait a minute, he's closing me right now. Can I call
How's it
you
working?
for-
How's it working?
He's got a changing houses,
That's it. Well, it's a relationship business, and you guys never know when you're going to do a deal together.
No, and we have long memories. You will see when you
Yes.
who you like and who you
Good
don't.
and bad.
Yes, exactly.
Like I am not accepting that one.
Yeah, don't even call me. Don't even call me. It will
Yeah.
happen.
Be the other end of that. So this is why I'm here.
There's still realtors with the COVID list.
Yeah, right?
Like, who didn't talk to me when they hit this?
Right.
They got their name written down. Like that Happy Gilmore, the guy crosses out the name
Right.
of that. I called that guy. Because you remember that, man, when listings were scarce in
Oh, yeah.
COVID, and it was like 47 offers.
Yeah.
Listing agents not calling you back. You're like, okay, all right.
Yeah. It's happening. It's kind of happening in Grosse Pointe right now.
Is it really?
Yeah. That now there's some infighting going on in Grosse Pointe too, because people are stealing listings apparently, and like yeah. So
Is it stealing if you don't have a contract signed?
yeah. I like that one. No, that's perfect. 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 All right, let's wrap it up. We'll get us wrapped up because I know it's we're getting on that time. Yeah. That'll be our next field trip.
Yeah, bring them in from out here.
Yep, you gotta sell them a house.
Come on in here. Let me see if I can't rattle my stuff.
Is there a good time for you in that 3 to 6 time frame?
5 o'clock works great.
5 o'clock, that'd be great.
And what we're going to talk about is
Yes.
Yes.
So what I'd like to do, obviously, we're gonna sell. We're interested in selling. I'd like to come in. I'd like to give you a competitive market analysis on the value of your home. I'd like to understand what is working and what isn't working in your existing space, which will help me on your search criteria. So if you have a minute, if you could get a paper and pen, I've got a little homework for you. I'd like you to do. Would you mind?
not at all.
Great. So what I'd like you to do between now and then is if you could write down a list, your top 5 criteria, what you're looking for in the next home. Top 3 are the must-haves. Maybe number 4 and 5 are I'd like to have, but not crucial. In this market with our inventory, sometimes it's hard to deliver on 100%, but we want to hone in on what we're trying to achieve. And for me to help you, that's what we need to accomplish.
Gotcha.
So when we meet at 5 on Friday, do you think you could have that list for me?
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Okay. So,
From there, once they give you that criteria, I think I'll land this plane here. So I'll do it without my notes.
Good.
So then, once you have everything that they need, if it's like 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom ranch, you're able to look at that. You're able to say, this is what I found based on what you need. This is how I can help you find that. And I know that you've mentioned 5 things. I found 2 properties that outline out need number 1, need number 2. And then from there, it's just a numbers game. I imagine. It's just finding the right house. But you've given them everything. Or excuse me, they've given you everything you need to help them. And what you've done, which I'm learning here, is you got rid of a lot of the guesswork, right? By being very clear and being very specific, you know how to help them. Because, like he said, most people don't know what they want. And that,
essentially, you're
Yeah.
working for free
Yeah.
until you close a deal.
which is why it's
So
good.
you're working smart,
Yeah.
and that's the goal. Your goal is to work as efficiently as possible. And some of these people, they don't even know what they don't know. They don't know what they want. You gotta rein them in, and you gotta get them where you need them to be to
Okay.
make a decision.
Yes.
Yeah.
So after that list of
But the ideal scenario is, you know they want a list. You get into the environment and you see it, and I go back to what I said. They say they got a 3-car garage and they had a beautiful full basement, but they didn't even put basement on the list.
Yeah.
Guess what? They may have forgot. That may have been a given in their head. So at least when you're in their environment, you can say, okay, well, I see the basement wasn't on the list, but you have this beautiful finished basement. I walk out. Is this a criteria? Again, this helps you validate that list.
Helping you validate, okay. Helping you validate their needs and criteria, even if things don't arise, and that can also be a possible
Yeah,
starting
some
point.
things that may seem obvious to you and I might be obvious to them too, but they didn't write it down because it was so obvious to them. You think you know it, but you don't know
And
it.
it's our job to get everything out into the open.
Yeah,
Because the more stuff is on the table, the easier
Yes.
it is. Okay.
Now, especially when, I would say, the longer it's been since they've sold,
Yeah.
the more hand-holding you're gonna be doing.
I imagine because it's probably changed since
Yes.
before I was born. Like,
Well, now do you know why I wanted this guy so bad to be a realtor? Isn't it good? Isn't it awesome?
He's a sponge.
Yes. He is, and he asks questions. Like, he asks good questions. I'm like, you ask good questions that are going to, like, help you with this whole thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so stop asking questions so I can wrap us up.
it's going to be very helpful when I go home and share this with my mom.
Now, I've met his mom. Well, we've talked on the phone, right? His mom is an expert at emotional intelligence.
Oh, wow.
And, like, having a conversation with her, she's coming on the podcast in a couple weeks. Like, we've already scheduled time. Because I'm like, emotional intelligence to me is super important. And I look back on, like, my career, like, as a coach, as a basketball coach, right? Like, I probably didn't always have the most emotional intelligence as a basketball coach. I'm just going to be honest, right? There was times where, like, this jacket got thrown into the stands, right? Yes, yeah, I was trying to wrap you up. Yeah. Hit me one more time, Justin, on the thing. So if you go to the EliteEdgeNetwork.com, I do coaching and training with agents everywhere. So today we're doing, typically it's $200 a month, but we're doing $50 a month for you guys to do coaching. If you scan that QR code, it'll take you right to the link. There's bi-weekly webinars, monthly one-on-one calls, all that stuff. So
You need me to sign something for Connor?
I got your email and stuff because you registered for the class.
I did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
That was great.
We'll be in touch.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be in touch. But yeah, so if you go to EliteEdgeNetwork.com, I do coaching and training. Lori, if you need me to come out and talk to your team, let me know. I will.
Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
But yeah, so that's today's promo special. But if you need anything, EliteEdgeNetwork.com. It's where we do real estate, the podcast, everything is there with everything. So that's it. What questions do you guys have? Go ahead. I've left you speechless?
No, I think they got an answer before. My only question is, like, when you drive in and you're trying to, like, so I'm just running through this. My thought was, when you want to qualify, so you don't waste your time, you don't want to be the king of appointments, and you want to get contract signed, you want to know your intention when you come in. And so this is the kind of, so we went through that, but then what happens if things fall through on that one? What's your re-up? There we go. I'm getting to it.
There you go.
So let's say you go, and then Mr. Nelson, basically I told you my intention is there to come here to get you to sign some sort of contract. Are we willing to do that tonight? That's on Thursday at 4 o'clock. And you, of course, say, yep, that sounds like a good thing.
Yep.
Okay, going through my presentation, and I am on fire. I'm on fire, and I did qualify, say, hey, is your wife, let's say you and your significant other going to be there, even though you checked their public record, and only Jimmy Nelson is there, the only one that needs to sign. But I'll tell you what, if he signs it without confirmation from the general,
It ain't working.
or permit, that ain't gonna work.
Right.
You wasted your time. But it's okay, we get there, and now let's say we goes, well, we're gonna have to talk about this. There we go. So we've gone there.
So you're at the appointment.
They're gonna say, this has happened, and I'm not saying because, well, it has happened, either through buying a house or listing a house, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've either been there to purchase or
You're right. So if if I still want to get the contract signed.
But he goes, well, it's okay, so try with real, I know we gotta go.
Yeah.
Real script, okay, here, you send it out there, and nobody grabs, because as you said,
Yep.
you slide out
Nobody
there,
grabs
and
it.
nobody's grabbing
Yeah.
it, because the other person, well, we ain't signing nothing today.
Yep.
You understand that? And so then what do you do?
Yeah.
You go
So
back?
I would say, based on our previous conversation and all the things that I know about you, would you say you and your wife are on the same page about this?
I'm looking at it.
No, she's not there.
Oh, we were there, because you came over to the house.
Oh, she is there. I thought you said she wasn't
Yeah,
there.
she's there.
Oh, she is there. Yeah.
You're there. You talk
But
to
she
me,
doesn't want to sign anything.
and obviously, well, you didn't know that. This
Right.
is where the curveball comes in.
Okay, I got one for you.
Go ahead.
So, hey, what I'm going to do, since I've been here, my phone's been absolutely blowing up. Okay? But I didn't want to interrupt anything we were doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step outside. I got two phone calls to make. Should take me about 5-7 minutes, right? Tops. I'm going to let you guys talk about this for a minute. I'll be right back. And I go out. Because that does happen a lot, right? It does, that situation comes up a lot, right? Where it's, I want to, but I got to talk to my wife about it. And we're going to talk about you, and we don't want to do that with you sitting there, right?
You're giving them space.
Yeah, I guess give them space. I'm going to walk out to my car real quick. I got about 5-7 minutes. I got to return a couple phone calls. My phone's been going crazy since I've been here. I'm going to step outside. I'll be right back. And then I give them their space, right? So, because that is what we need, right? Like, again, my wife and I are going to talk about you, but we don't want to do it with you sitting there. We're going to be like, this dude's an idiot, or this guy's the greatest thing ever. But I don't want to say either one of those things with you sitting there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to give you too many props with you sitting there, and I don't want to, like, embarrass you while you're sitting there, right? So, again, because you may have hit it off with the wife, or you may have not, right? So we don't know. So, or the husband, either one. But yeah, if I give them a little bit of space, and again, if they still are pushing of, we don't want to sign it tonight, we don't want to sign it tonight, I'm not a big fan of leaving it, but I have. Do you know what I mean? Like,
My biggest question I'm putting, I'm sorry for
no, you're good.
is the number one thing in anything and everything is follow-up.
100%.
Follow. Not the first initial, not this, it's the constant go until they either die, right?
Yep.
Or they went into contract with somebody else or something.
Yep.
Right? That's just the way I look at it.
Yeah.
And I've heard that before, but I really believe it. You go to after that's it. Right? So they're here, and at what point you never give up on them? So you pulled your contract back, you leave them with, hey, you know, I'm gonna call you in a week. Or you leave them at the time period. I'm looking for that follow, or is that just in the coach? I don't wanna steal your
Yeah.
thunder, steal
No, you're fine.
yourself.
I always say, like, I always leave it to time frame. Like, hey, you guys don't want to make this decision tonight. If I go out, give them my 10 minutes, I come back in, and they're still like, I don't know if I want to do this or whatever. I don't want to, again, because,
Let's say they're legitimate, I mean.
yeah, nobody wants to
They
be,
legitimately don't know if they want
Yeah.
to sell yet, because their timeline's different than yours. They may be going, my God, this thing's going faster when you
Right.
called me out of the blue. Holy crap, that's a legitimate thing.
Yeah.
We're not sure if we want to ready to move yet, but we want to move, but
Yeah.
you're talking next week? You know what we gotta do?
right,
Whoa,
yeah.
that's a legitimate thing, would you agree?
Yeah,
That's a
for
big
sure,
thing.
for sure. And so then, like, you can live with the 24-hour rule too, right? Like, hey, listen, you guys sleep on it. I'll give you a buzz sometime tomorrow afternoon. You know, if it's about the same time work tomorrow, cool. Then I can give you guys a call, or I can swing back by, right? I'm going to be back in the neighborhood tomorrow. I can swing back by. Don't do it if it's too far away. but if I can be back and I can just say I'm going to be back, I can, I'll come back and I'll do this, whatever. But again, sometimes it does come down to that of I just need to breathe, or I'm interviewing another agent. As soon as you leave, I got another agent coming over. Like, I want to see his presentation too. Like, you just, song and dance me with yours. I want to see what his is. You know what I mean? Like, literally, I've passed agents like walking out. You know what I mean? Like, oh, there you go. Like, yeah, like I know how that it happens, right? Like, it's funny. It doesn't. I always want to go first. If I can go first, and they're like, "Oh, I want to talk to the other agent," I'm going to be like, "Well, what would the other agent do out of everything that I've provided for you today? What else would you need for me to do of all the things you've seen that I can do for you?"
Can you expand on why you want to go first? I'd rather go last.
Because I'll call them and cancel it. If they're like, "Oh, I'll call them for you. Don't worry about it." Yeah, if you're like, Oh,
I would rather go last against someone like you or some other cats.
yeah,
Okay. I like it.
because you want to dazzle them at the end.
No, I wouldn't dazzle them. I'd reverse interview and find what they did, then
Yeah.
write down everything that you do.
And as far as like time frames go too,
Nelson doing that.
yeah,
I've heard about Nelson doing that.
yeah. As far as time frames go too for the client, like, hey, listen, Mr. Client, wave a magic wand in a perfect world. When do you want this house sold? Like when is moving day? I don't know, right? Like, again, we just started in this process. We still got to find a place. We got to clean up this place. Like, you know, there is a lot that goes into that. Cool. So then I always go back to the Tony Robbins thing, right? Tony Robbins tells you that if somebody's coming over your house and they tell you they're going to be over in 3 days, it takes 3 days to clean your house. If they tell you you're going to be over in 3 hours, it takes 3 hours to clean your house. How fast are we wanting to move here?
Right.
You know what I mean? Then because you have to put some pressure back on them sometimes, right? Put their feet to the fire. Because an unmotivated seller is the worst. Because they'll reject offers. They're not right there. I got one buyer right now. She's a buy sell.
Say, well, can we got more?
Yeah, yeah. I got a client right now that she's gonna be she's a buy sell. I've taken her and shown her a couple houses, but she's not that motivated to move because she's got some stuff to do with her house. You know what I mean? So I'm like, but she says she's motivated to move out of her house, but she hasn't showed me that she's motivated because every time I keep telling her to do something to her house, she's not doing it. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, so then I take less and less time with her. I still am in front of her, and I still am emailing her. I still am sending her. I still have her on a concierge search on the Real Comp, and I'm still sending her homes, right?
What's the deal you missed out on because you haven't sold your house yet?
Well,
Yeah.
matching the energy, right?
Right.
I mean, so it's like kind of like that level of commitment, like whether it's employment or sales. It's like I'm going to match your energy to a degree. I'm going to try to raise the energy in the room to get you to move. But if you like kind of like the one word answer, if you start giving me one word answers, I know like okay, we got to button this up because
Yeah.
I could talk too much.
What if he's an engineer, though?
Well, I mean, then typically they
Then you print out the 80-page
right it's
list
pretty
report.
tough.
But if he's an engineer or an accountant, he's only going to give you a very dry
Yeah.
way for you to overload.
Hmm. Yeah, I did that with an engineer, and I gave him the 80-page thing, and he was like all into the
Oh yeah.
bars and graphs and the charts and the whole. I'm like, dude, that bored me. Like looking at it, my ADD doesn't function that way. Like, my brain does not.
Their heart starts.
Yeah, like my brain does not work that way. Like it just does not.
Is a 2026 pocket protector line come out yet?
I have the new catalog. Don't mind if I do. So then you pivot to the wife that's filling out the buyer consultation form, and you say, "Hey, all right." So
I have a question. I want to piggyback off what Steve was just saying. So my I wouldn't necessarily call it anxiety, but it's something that I want to pay attention to.
Okay.
Is setting appointments, and like he said, you don't want to be the king of setting appointments and just not getting anywhere. So my question for you, and actually all of you, is like, how do you really strengthen your mindset to do, like, this is a numbers game, right? Deals fall through, sellers
Mhm.
are unmotivated, people aren't willing to listen. That kind of thing, I'm not really sure on how to navigate around that. Because if it leads dead, it leads dead. Like you said, there's no point in chasing that. So how do you just continue to stay resilient? Is it just chasing the next yes? Is it just clawing your way to the next, possible closing? Or how do you stay afloat is what I'm asking. Because I know this is an up and down business.
It's a little bit of everything you just said, right? Like that's where the importance part comes of tracking your numbers, right? Like how many dials did I make? How many people answered? So there's a difference too of this is a whole nother thing, right? But there's a difference of the phone call, right, between a conversation, right? Because a conversation is anything over 2 minutes, okay? Anything below that is a contact, right? So this is a contact sport. The more contacts I can get, I know is going to lead me to a sale. It's the more contacts. Conversations are even better, right? But I may have to have so many contacts today to lead me to some conversations, right? Not everything's going to be a conversation, but if I have a conversation, that should lead me to an appointment or money. Because if I've talked to them for over 2 minutes, they like something, right? But if somebody says hello, right? If I do my introduction and I say, hey, this is Jimmy calling you, well, click. That's a contact. They said hello to me. That's a contact. So again, how many contacts does it take to get me to have a conversation? And how many conversations does it take me to get to an appointment? And how many appointments does it take me to get to a closing?
Well, and to add to this, what he's expressing is in your pipeline, your sales funnel, call it that, like imagine driving on a highway, we're going from here to there, and there's exits, like there can only be one exit. Meaning like, okay, get off here, get off there. Call that your roadblock as an example. Like so your lead intake, you have leads, you have people to call, you have a sphere. That's your first roadblock. Okay, well, yeah, I have 100 people to call. Okay, how many calls did you make? Okay, well, I made 100 calls. Okay, well, you think if you have 100 contacts, should you make 100 calls? How many calls do you make? If you have 100 contacts, how many calls should you make?
Well, see, are you just relying on the KPIs and numbers? Because numbers after all don't love you back. It's very tough to live by numbers.
Well, no, you don't want to live by numbers, but you kind of want to use it as like, so I know if it's 70 degrees, I might need a coat coming out of winter or coming out of summer, but not out of winter.
What I was extrapolating to is, yes, you can see if you're on the right path, and I think maybe I misread it through what he was saying. It's really, it starts off with your morning mindset of how you keep yourself paid, period.
Yep.
I don't care, 'cause you're gonna have people in Boyden and Polar Bear, they will use expletives, and I'm telling you, it's a lonely game.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't gonna help you. You have to put, but really, he ain't gonna help you. Nobody can help you. I'm serious. And it gets to be very lonely. And it gets to be very sad. And everybody's telling you negative stuff all day, every day. And then, but the thing is, you're gonna have to find 5 cats that are better than you, that you know you can hang out with on a regular basis. And that's gonna make everything a lot better about all that. The KPIs are great. The scripts are great. The CRM you gotta have, but man, you have to have that mindset. You gotta give a reason to get up in the mornings, right?
Yep. There's an old saying. So a sales funnel is this, right? Like how many people can I put into here to lead me to money, right? And I just got to keep putting people in here. Some of them are going to fall out. Some of them are going to squirt out over here. Like they're going to fall out of there. You're going to get them down in here, right? Like, but again, you can see what happens. It gets squeezed really at the bottom. But I got to just keep jamming them in there, right? I got to keep jamming leads in there because, again, so like if you say this, if I were to say for a week, right, for 1 week, and I'm just going to talk about buy side right now, right? For 1 week, if I was dialing, right, and I look at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? And I'm getting leads, and I'm calling out of connection, and I'm calling my buyer leads, right? On Monday, I get one client that says yes, they're interested in buying. Okay? On Tuesday, I get one that says yes. On Wednesday, I have a shitty day. I got 0, right? I got nothing. Thursday, I get one that says yes, they want to buy, and yes, they need to sell something. Okay? On Friday, I get one that says yes, I need to buy. So in this week, I've picked up 4 buyers. Right? I've picked up 4 buyers.
On how many calls?
It depends, right? I mean, I can make 100 calls on Monday and get 1. Wow. On Tuesday, I can make.
I made 500 calls in a day.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when yeah. Coaching teams, we were on a triple line dialer, and it was 600 dials a day. Like on a triple line dialer. Yeah. It just dials, and when it picks up, it hits your earphone. Yeah. So, but if you did this just from yours, right? And so you picked up 4 buyers this week and 1 sell, right? Now, for the month, right? That gives you 16 buyers and 4 lists potentially, right? Now they're not all going to go at one time.
No, they might all go with you.
Yeah, they might not all go with you. But let's say you don't convert well. All right? Let's say you're not a good converter, right? If you had 8 buyers and 2 lists, okay? But let's say you're brand new at this and you're no good at this, and that leaves you with 4 buyers and 1 list. If you close 4, again, these aren't going to close in the same month, right? This is, again, I'm building it up because if I have buyers, if I've got 4 buyers that I'm running around, right? Now it's going to take time because now I'm meeting them everywhere. Right. But I'm calling every day. I'm calling every day because I'm going to do this every week. And if I just add 4 a week, right? But you can see how this starts to drop off. But if you get 4 buyers that are active buyers and 1 list, right, out of this, you're in the top 1% of real estate agents in the world.
But Mr. Nelson, real estate's easy. 'Cause all I gotta do is put a sign in somebody's house. That's all I'm supposed to want to do.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
You can. You got to call to get there. Yeah. You can. I've had agents say to me, I want to make $1 million next year. Okay. Go ahead. It's there.